Hi students, so in this semester I am going to teach you about 8086 microprocessor and MSP 430 microcontroller. So in unit 1 we are going to cover all the basics about 8086. So the topics that we are going to cover in 8086 are Introduction to microcomputers, Introduction to 8086 microprocessor, Architecture of 8086 microprocessor. In the architecture we are going to discuss about these things. Those are block diagram of 8086, registers of 8086, memory segmentation, 20-bit physical address calculation, pin configuration of 8086, minimum mode operation with timing diagram, maximum mode operation with timing diagram, and interrupts and interrupt vector table of 8086. So in this unit we are going to cover all these topics. So before going into the subject, before going to introduce you to 8086 microprocessor, I just want you to know about some basic terminologies that we are going to use in this subject. Okay. So first in this session is completely an introductory session to 8086 and terminologies. You are going to know about all the basic terms of processor and regarding processors and regarding microcomputers as well as embedded systems also. Okay, let us start that. First I am going to introduce you about introduction to microprocessor. So what is a microprocessor and how microprocessor operates, everything that we are going to discuss in this session. So this is an example of block diagram of simple microcomputer. You can see here. Okay, so it consists of central processing unit, it consists of some IO ports, and it is associated with memory. In memory, you know that volatile and non-volatile memories are there. Those are RAM and ROM. And in IO ports, this is an input device and this is an output device. And if you see here, these are the common terms that we know so far. We know CPU, central processing unit. So we know what CPU does. CPU consists of an arithmetic and logical unit. So in that all calculations that have been performed. So we know about central processing unit. So but what are the new terms that you have come across in this block diagram means, you can see here this is control bus. So till now you haven't seen or you haven't heard about anything about buses. So this is the first new one, that is control bus. Second one, this is data bus, and this is address bus. So these are the three new words that you have seen here in the block diagram of simple microcomputer, and these are very new, and we are going to know about what is data bus, what is control bus, and what is address bus also. So this is a simple block diagram of for microcomputer is shown in the below figure. The major parts are CPU, memory, and input and output circuitry or IO device. Three sets of parallel lines are used to connect these parts are called as buses. Okay, so the buses are, those buses are nothing but data bus, control bus, address bus. So what is a bus? These are the sets of parallel lines are used to connect these parts. So those are nothing but just like a wires to connect from one part to another part in any other hardware circuit. These buses acts like that. So we know the general live example is generally as a mode of transport we use buses to go from one place to another place. As like the mode of transport bus behaves, here also it carries information from one point to another point in any hardware device, that is defined as bus. Okay, so this is the basic simple block diagram of microcomputer. And you can see here this is the microprocessor based computer system. So actually in 8086 what we are going to learn means, so in this one you have seen about in this block diagram of microcomputer you have seen about central processing unit. So in this central processing unit, you know, whenever you are buying a mobile or else you are buying a laptop, you see what is the processor and how much is the RAM. So first comes the processor, that means how effectively it processes an instruction, how effectively it executes an operation. So that is our microprocessor. Okay, so this is bus, this is microprocessor system, this is IO system, and this is memory system. So you can see here microprocessors. So in microprocessors, first one is 8086. These are very few examples of microprocessors, and we are having a vast list of microprocessors, and these are the main important microprocessors. Okay, so 8086 and 8088 processor, 80186, 80286, these are all the examples of our microprocessors. Okay, so memory system. So you know that memory means RAM or ROM, right? So few examples of memory system are dynamic RAM, static RAM, cache memory, RAM, flash memory, EPROM, SD-RAM, like that. And here in IO system, all input and output devices that comes into account. So printer, serial communication devices, floppies, hard disk, CD-ROMs, keyboard, monitor, and all the devices that comes under example of our IO systems. So this is the simple block diagram of microprocessor based computer system. Okay, with examples, all these together called as a microcomputer. Okay, so next we are going to see few terminologies. That one is memory. So what actually memory is? So see here, it is a medium. Memory is a medium that stores binary information. So what is memory? Like that, if you know your parents' number, you store that parents' number in your brain. That means your brain is giving you space to store some information. Like that, memory is also a medium that stores binary information. Okay, so why binary? Means all machines run on binary information. Machines can understand only binary language. That's why memory is also a medium to store a binary information. The memory section usually consists of a mixture of RAM and ROM. It may also have magnetic floppy disks, magnetic disks, and optical disks. Memory has two purposes. Okay, so that means, as I have told you earlier, this is you can see that memory 8 GB RAM and 512 GB ROM, like that you see the specifications, right? So memory, it is a mixture of both RAM and ROM. Okay, and next one is input. Input, it is a device that allows the computer to take in data from outside world. So input means, if you are taking an input means, if you are taking a suggestion for something, means you are taking an input to think on that. Like that, input is a device that allows the computer to take data from outside world. That means if I am giving an input from any printer, or else if I am giving an input from any keyboard, or else from any mouse, it is taking data from outside, collecting the data. So like that, output means it is a device that allows the computer to send data to the outside world. Output. Okay, or else output is nothing but it is a sort of result also. So you can see here peripherals such as keyboard, video display, terminals, printers, and modems are connected to the IO section. Generally, we won't treat input and output as different one. We treat that as input or output port, or else input or output section. Okay, these allow the user and the computer to communicate with each other. The actual physical devices used to interface the computer buses to external systems are often called as ports. So what is a port? Means, see, the actual physical devices used to interface the computer buses to external systems. So a port is nothing but it is a physical device which is used to connect our system buses, okay, from our microprocessor buses to external system. They are used to connect. Those are called as ports. An input port allows data from keyboard or AD converter or some other source to be read into the computer under control of CPU. An output port is to send data from computer to some peripheral such as video display, terminal, printer, or else any D2A converter. So in these couple of lines you have seen some examples for both input and output ports. So some important terms that we have to see here. So far we have seen about microprocessor. So now we are going to know actually what is the definition of microprocessor. It is a semiconductor device which is manufactured by using LSI or VLSI technology, which includes arithmetic logic unit, control unit and a group of resistors in a single integrated circuit. Okay, so what actually a microprocessor means? It is a semiconductor device. This is a physical definition, and we have to define the microprocessor in another way depending upon its operation also. It is a semiconductor device which is manufactured by using low scale integration or very large scale integration technology, which includes the parts of microprocessor or ALU, control unit, and it is having some registers to store some integrated circuit. All these are together fabricated under a single integrated circuit. This is the definition of microprocessor. Okay, and now what is the definition of microcontroller? It is a device that includes microprocessor, memory and I/O signal lines on a single chip fabricated using VLSI technology. So, this is also a physical definition of microcontroller. So, microcontroller includes microprocessor. This is the key point that you have to keep in your mind to know the difference between a microprocessor and microcontroller. So, microcontroller, it includes microprocessor, memory and I/O devices on a single chip fabricated using only VLSI technology. It can't be fabricated under large scale integration circuit, LSI technology. And now what is a microcomputer? A digital computer having a microprocessor as its central processing unit is called as microcomputer. So, a microprocessor combined with memory, an input device and an output device form a microcontroller. Okay, that means it is a digital computer having a microprocessor as its CPU is called as microcontroller. So, microprocessor is combined with memory, an input device and an output device forms a microcomputer. Okay, microprocessor input and output together called as microcomputer. Next one is bus. So, what is bus? So, generally we call bus as a mode of transport. Bus takes us from one place to another place, that means from source to destination. If you want to go to place B from place A, place B is your destination and place A is your source. A bus takes a person from place A to place B. Likewise, the similar operation bus in microprocessor or else in any digital system does. It carries information from one point to another point. This is the actual definition of bus, a group of wires or lines used to transfer bits between the microprocessor and other components of the computer system. Okay, so bus is nothing but they are a group of wires and group of lines. They are used to transfer bits. So bit by bit only data transfers, right, from microprocessor to other components of the system. Okay. So, or else another definition is also there, or it is a path used to carry signals such as connection between memory and microprocessor in a digital computer. Both means same. And next one is hardware. The physical devices and circuitry of the computer is called as hardware. Hardware means physical existence. If any device exists physically, that is called as hardware. The example, suppose if you take this mouse, so this mouse is a physically existence device. So this comes under hardware unit. And software. So what is software means? The programs written for the computer is referred as software. So if you use any language like C or some other language, if you write programs for the computer is referred as software. Okay. Software requires a language. Instruction. So what is instruction? A command in binary that is recognized and executed by the computer to accomplish a task. Some instructions are designed with one word and some require multiple words. So what is an instruction? Instruction, it is a command in binary that is recognized and executed by the computer to accomplish a task. Suppose if I know, okay, so the example is, if you take 1 plus 2 is equal to 3 here. So I know, because I am a human, as we know, this is 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. But the processor won't know. Processor, we have to write it depending upon the language. So add 1 comma 2, like that we can write. So depending upon the programming language, we have to give a command or else an instruction. So this is called as instruction. So in instruction is a command in binary that is recognized and executed by the computer to finish the task. Okay. So next, mnemonic. Mnemonic is a combination of letters to suggest the operation of instruction. So here I have written ADD, add. Okay, so add is a combination of letters. It is suggesting the instruction to perform addition operation. So add is the mnemonic, or else mnemonics stands for instructions of the particular language. Okay. Program is nothing but a set of instructions written in specific sequence for the computer to accomplish a given task. So program is nothing but a set of instruction, one by one instructions will be there. So those can be written under specific sequence for the computer to finish the task. So you can see a simple C program. So C program, how C program follows a specific structure, Java follows a specific structure. Like that, each and every microprocessor understands another language, and it is also a specific structure. It follows a specific structure. And machine language. So machine language means, you all know about machine language. Machine language, the binary medium of communication with a computer through a designed set of instructions specific to each computer. Okay. So machine language is a binary medium. Binary means only we can have only zeros and ones. Assembly language. So what is assembly language means? A medium of communication with a computer in which programs are written in mnemonics. Okay. So assembly language is a type of language to use it to communicate with the microprocessor, or else with any microcomputer system in which the program is in the form of mnemonics. So machine language means it always in the form of binary. So assembly language means it is in the form of mnemonics. Like that I have written with add, right? Like that the program will be there. In second unit, we are going to see what are the mnemonics and how it performs, like that, and everything. Low level language, a medium of communication that is mission dependent or specific to a given computer. The mission and assembly language programs of a computer are considered as low level languages. Programs written in these languages are not transferable to different types of missions. So programs written in low level languages are restricted to missions, and they can't be transferred to another language. High level language. High level language is a medium of communication. Language is a medium of communication. Some people know Telugu well, some people know Hindi well, some people know Tamil well. Like that, language is a medium of communication, communicating with one another. Like that, here also assembly language is a one-way medium of communication. The same way in electronics, all the definitions resembles the general meaning of English. Okay. The medium of communication that is independent of a given computer. Programs are written in English like words, and they can be executed on a machine using translator, a compiler or interpreter. Okay. So next one is source code. So source code, it is a program written either in mnemonics of as assembly language or in English like statements of high level language. Source code means the basic code that we have seen in any program, that is either in mnemonics of assembly language program or else in any English like statements of high level language. Okay, before the compilation, that is called as source code. Assembler, a computer program that translates an assembly language program from mnemonics to binary mission code of a computer. So whenever if you are associating with computer, we don't know binary code, so we need some mediators from us to the computer to convert our code to computer. So we write program in mnemonics and the assembler converts it to binary mission code, and finally it transfers to the microcomputer system. Compiler, a program that translates English like words of a high level language into the mission level language of a computer. Interpreter, it is a program that translates the English like statements of a high level language into the mission level language of a computer. Okay, so interpreter, compiler means it translates English like high level language into machine level language. Interpreter, it converts high level language into machine level language. Okay, so both are same. Operating system, so you know operating system, the set of two programs that manages interaction between hardware and software. So we know that OS, right, Windows OS and Mac OS, like that we came across different types of operating system. They are set of programs which work by combination of both hardware and software by balancing both two. Okay, and you have to know about ASCII code. So ASCII means American Standard Code for Information Exchange. So this is a standard code and we write all our information in ASCII code in 8086 programming. This is 7-bit alphanumeric code with 128 combinations, and we'll see this about this ASCII code in string operations, and I am going to display you a chart of ASCII codes. Next one is central processing unit. The central processing unit or CPU controls the whole operation of computer. So in a microcomputer, the CPU is a microprocessor. The CPU or microprocessor fetches binary coded instructions from the memory, decodes the instruction into a series of simple actions, and carries out these actions in a sequence of steps. So you can see entire working of CPU in this couple of lines. So CPU, it controls the operation of the computer. As we all know, so the microprocessor is nothing but the central processing unit, and the CPU performs three operations. So first one is, you can see there, okay, you can see there it fetches binary coded instructions. So first operation is fetching. Okay, it fetches the binary coded instructions from where it has to fetch from memory, decodes the instruction. So next step is decoding, decodes the instruction into a series of simple actions. So which operation has to be performed next and which has to be performed next, like that it will decode into series of simple actions and carries out these actions in a sequence of steps. So carries out, or else it can be termed as execute. Okay, so those are the three main and major steps CPU does, or else our microprocessor does, and our entire system follows these three steps: fetch, decode and execute. Okay, so we are going to see about fetching, decoding and executing and everything in our next sessions. Like we'll discuss about these three in our block diagram of 8086. So we know we have seen the buses, right? Address bus, data bus and control bus. So now we'll see about, last but not least, we are going to see about these address types of buses. So address bus, first one, the address bus consists of 16, 20 or 24 or 32 parallel signal lines. These address lines are used to send a address of memory location or a device address from the microprocessor unit to the memory or peripheral. The address bus is always unidirectional. This one you have to keep in mind. Address bus always performs unidirectional operations. That means it is either to memory or else from memory. So address always goes out of the microprocessor. So here see, address bus consists of lines like 16 address lines, 20, 24, 32. These are all our parallel signal lines. So address is nothing but a combination of parallel signal lines. These are used to send address of the memory location or a device from microprocessor unit. Okay, that means always address goes from microprocessor out of the microprocessor. We won't get any address in incoming direction to microprocessor. The address bus is always unidirectional bus. This is a very important point about address bus. Address always goes out of microprocessor. So for 8086 and the significance of address bus is I am going to discuss here. So the number of memory locations that the microprocessor can address is determined by the number of address lines. If the microprocessor has n number of address lines, then it can directly access 2 power n memory locations. Okay, so for example, a microprocessor with 16 address lines can address 2 power 16, that equal to approximately 64, 65, 536 memory locations. So address bus significance is it total number of address lines or n, it can access 2 power n memory location. Okay, so for our 8086, let me write here, address bus of 8086 is 2 power 20. Sorry, address bus length is 20, so total memory of 8086 is 2 power 20. It is approximately is equal to 1 megabyte of memory. Okay, so address bus width of 8086 is 20 lines. Next one is data bus. So the data bus consists of 8, 16 or 32 parallel lines. We know bus is nothing but a group of parallel lines. A group of lines used to transfer data between the microprocessor and peripherals or memory is called as a data bus. That means a group of lines which carry information from one point from microprocessor to another device is called as data bus. If it carries address, then it is called as address bus. If it carries data, then it is called as data bus. The data bus is always bidirectional. It is always bidirectional. The data can be sent out from microprocessor to any device, and the data can get into microprocessor from any other device. So the next one is control bus. The control bus consists of 4 to 10 parallel signal lines. The microprocessor send out signals onto control bus to enable the output of addressed memory devices or port devices. Typical control bus signals are memory read, memory write, IO read and IO write. So these are about 4 to 10 parallel lines. So the microprocessor, it sends out signals onto control bus whenever it needs to access specific addressed memory devices. So whenever it has to access a specific memory device, or else whenever it has to perform a specific operation, then the control bus is used. Okay, so general control bus signals are memory read, memory write, IO read and IO write. These will come to you in your minimum mode and maximum mode configurations. These are the basic terminologies that we generally use in our 8086, and without knowing all these basic terms, it is a waste to learn about 8086. Okay, so now next I am going to tell you about the basic pipelining concept, which is very much useful in 8086. So this is the pipelining concept that you are seeing here. As I told you earlier, our CPU has 3 functions: fetching, decoding and executing. Okay, so I have told you a physical definition of microprocessor, and let me tell you the functional definition of microprocessor. A microprocessor is a device which can execute any instruction, okay, in microseconds. Okay, the total time taken by the instruction can be calculated in microseconds, or else you can take ideal time as 1 microsecond. If it executes an instruction in 1 microseconds, then that can be treated as microprocessor. This is the functional definition of microprocessor, and the definition that we have discussed in the earlier is the physical definition of microprocessor. Okay, so you can see here fetching, decoding and executing. So let me tell you, if I am having first instruction 1, fetching the instruction from memory, decoding the instruction and executing the instruction. These three are the basic steps, and the time taken for these steps will be, let us say, 1 microsecond. Okay, so after finishing of our first instruction, then our second instruction will start. Second instruction also fetching, decoding, second instruction. So F2, D2, E2 I am going to write. Okay, so the instruction 2 has to wait for 1 microsecond to get it operated. So instruction 2 has to wait till instruction 1 has to be completed. Okay, so in this way the time is going very much long. So in order to reduce the time, there is a concept called as pipelining that we have used in our 8086 architecture. Okay, so here if you see sequential phases, this is the non-pipelining one. Sequential phases means fetching, decoding, executing, and after execution of this one F2, D2, E2, like that it is going F3, D3, E3, like that it will go. So overlapping phases means we in 8086 architecture we are having we will be having 2 units, and those are operating in pipelining concept. That means see here, so fetching, whenever fetching operation is done, let me show you clearly here. Fetching, decoding, executing of first instruction. Whenever fetching of first operation is done and it executes, it decodes and executes. Okay, whenever first instruction is in decoding mode, then second instruction is fetched. Okay, like this. So this chain continues till we are how many instructions that we are having? T, T3, E3. Okay, so like this you can see here, if the time is 1 microsecond here, you can see, so 3 again from here 1, 2, 3. So from here to here 2 microseconds. So you can clearly see without pipeline with 2 microseconds we are able to execute 2 instructions only. So with pipeline we are clear that we can be able to execute 3 instructions, okay, under 2 microseconds. Okay, so that the processor speed will also be increased. Okay, so this is called the pipelining concept, parallel fetching, okay, and parallel decoding, parallel executing. Okay, this concept is called as pipelining, and in pipelining we will see the overlapping phases, and this diagram can be explained in this way. Okay, and next we are going to see some other terminologies. These are the last one, and these are very much important here. Firmware, the program stored in ROMs or in other devices which permanently keep their stored information are referred as firmware. So whatever the data or else the program that can be stored permanently in ROMs can be considered as firmware. And in general the width of the data bus is equal to the bit capacity of the microprocessor. Yes, the bit capacity, that means 8086 is a 16-bit processor, that means it can handle 16 bits. If it is 64-bit processor, it can handle 64 bits. So the data line is approximate number of data lines for 64-bit processor are nothing but 64. Number of data lines for 16-bit processor are 16. So data lines and number of bits that the microprocessor can handle will be same in almost all cases. In general, the internal architecture of microprocessor depends on the bit capacity of the microprocessor. Yes, because the internal architecture consists of registers and everything, right? So in that registers and everything, it is related to 16-bit processor, because in order to handle 16 bits of data, it has to have 16 bits of registers. Like that, the architecture is also constructed depending upon the bit capacity. And what is bit? Bit is a binary digit or 0 or 1. Nibble, a group of 4 bits is called nibble, and group of 8 bits is called a byte. Generally we know byte, word and double word, but we don't know nibble. A nibble is nothing but a group of 4 bits. So word, a group of 16 bits or a group of bits the computer recognizes and processes at a time. Double word, it is a group of 32 bits. Okay, so these are the basic terminologies that we have covered so far in this session, that are very much useful to understand our 8086 microprocessor. And this is the pin diagram of microprocessor 8086. We are going to discuss about internal architecture of 8086 in next session, and after that session we are going to finish this 8086 pin diagram also. Okay, I hope you understand this session. See you in next session. Bye.